Well, folks, we are back at Sunshine Tidings Co-op, where we have built the signal interceptor. I guess it is time to get this show on the road. We're going to teleport ourselves into the Institute. And to get started on that, I need to go talk to Dez. Come here, Dez. Give me your sexy Claudia Christian voice.
Status report.
We got activity, Des. Not sure how long before it peaks.
The Institute is a huge unknown. Before we can make any plans, you need to do something. What I'm about to tell you is the most closely guarded secret the Railroad has. It's time you learn about Patriot.
Okay. So who's this Patriot?
Patriot?
There's a man, or woman, we're not sure, inside the Institute who helps synths escape to freedom. Dozens of synths owe him their lives. We don't know his name. We've never had a way to contact him. So we gave him the code name, Patriot. If your plan works, and you're able to get inside the Institute, we need you to make contact.
Well, how's that supposed to happen? What with all the secret handshakes and dead drops and rail signs and whatnot, and I'm pretty sure he does not know the passphrase.
How can I contact him if you know nothing about him?
Patriot devised a method to communicate with us one way. The plan hinges on us using this method to close the loop and contact him back.
So, how's that supposed to work?
Okay. I'll do my best.
Tom's encrypted a message for Patriot's eyes only. Once he sees it, he'll contact you. Until you make contact, and probably after, you need to stay in their good graces. You need to infiltrate them. Can you do that? Can you be our agent on the inside?
Well, we'll give it a try. Let's ask the question, though.
How do I infiltrate them?
You're going to have to sell them a lie. It's best to stick as close to the truth as possible. And you're going to have to think on your feet. We don't know what's waiting for you. If you make it at all.
Well, we'll see how this goes.
Bring it on.
You can do this. I believe in you. Stand on the platform and I'll give you the holotape. Just plug it into any Institute terminal and wait for the reply. Tom, talk to me.
Booting up the scan sequence. This frequency is only going to
You
work.
have anything to say, Deacon?
You know who
Hey,
doesn't make the
what's the
same
word?
mistake twice.
Excuse me.
How can I help?
Okay, apparently you don't have anything to say, even though you loved that last little exchange.
We're gonna have to cut a few corners with the scan.
Are you sure this thing's gonna work, Tom?
Ready when you are.
Well, here I am, and I can't move anymore. Is this gonna work or not? Yo. I'm trapped here.
So stand still. You gotta lock in all those molecules of yours. Hopefully we won't miss any. There's only, 60 trillion of them. All right, feeding our baby some juice. Let's see what she's got.
Take this holotape. You need it to contact.
How am I supposed to take the holotape from there?
Oh, man, don't worry. That's all part of the plan.
Tom! Do
Yeah,
whatever
sure it
you
is.
can to gain their trust. Lie. Tell them what they want to hear. Make up a cover story and sell it.
Come on, I think I got it.
Oh,
Establishing
teleportation.
Institute signal.
Just get all
What
the
do we need this thing
information
for if you can do that?
About synths. About the Institute's plans. Find their weaknesses. If we can disable or destroy the Institute, we may have to do it. You jack that holotape into any terminal and Patriot will make contact. He has to.
Got the R up. We got it.
Find a way to save them. Nobody else can.
Now.
I think there was a little bit of audio delay there, but whatever. Okay. There might be a little bit of junk up here, but not much. There's one wonder glue and a silver locket. And I don't really need steel, so I don't need scissors. Oh, I know what that's there for. Okay. That might get used later. let's go ahead and do this. Because the very first terminal you find is perfectly acceptable. We've got to find the network scanner. Initiate the scan. Scan complete. The Big D demanded a tutorial be included, so here it is. Short version, plug this into any Institute terminal and copy the message. Long version, Patriot's been sending us short-coded messages for years using an evil little encryption scheme. It was a bitch and a half to reverse engineer. Patriot's got skill, but I nailed it. Put this holotape on any Institute terminal and it'll deliver a gift wrap message straight to Patriot. You're going into the belly of the beast, friend. Don't trust anything! Tinker Tom out. Copy encrypted message. Deleted upload message on terminal. Read Patriot's reply. Acknowledge meet at the Advanced Systems Maintenance Room. And get that holotape back. And let's be on our way. I see a couple of boxes here. Stimpaks and Mentats.
Hello.
And the stuff should... Oh, it already did.
I wondered if you might make it here. You're quite resourceful. I'm known as Father. The Institute is under my guidance. I know why you're here. I'd like to discuss things with you face to face. Please, step into the elevator.
Will it open itself? And Institutionalized begins.
I can only imagine what you've heard, what you think of us. I'd like to show you that you may have the wrong impression.
Well, you're welcome to try.
Welcome to the Institute. This is the reality of the Institute. This place, these people, the work we do.
Advanced Systems.
For over 100 years, we've dedicated ourselves to humanity's survival. Decades of research,
Synth retention.
countless experiments and trials, a shared vision
Robotics.
of how science can help shape the future. It has never been easy. And our actions
Couldn't quite
are
read
often
bioscience, but we know that's what it
misinterpreted by
is.
those above ground. Someday, perhaps, we can show them what we've accomplished. But for now, we must remain underground. There's too much at stake here to risk it all. As you've seen, things above are
Cameras.
unstable. I'd like to talk to you about what we can do for everyone. But that can wait. You are here for a specific, very personal reason. You are here for your son.
Yes, I am. I have to get into the second elevator. Make sure I'm at full health. Not that it really matters at this point. And here we have Pseudo Sean. Yes, spoiler alert.
Sean?
Huh? Yes, I'm Sean.
Do you know who I am?
Sean. I've been looking for you for
I mean,
so long.
Who are you?
it makes sense that it would be kind of traumatic for some strange person to be coming in claiming...
Sean, where is everyone?
Father, what's going on? What's happening?
Yeah, let's... I'm going to go for the least traumatic path, not that it matters.
Sean, are you okay? You're not hurt, are you?
What's going on? Father? Father!
It'll be okay, Sean. I'm here
I
now.
don't know you. Go away. Father! Father, help me! There's someone here, help me!
Who's this father you keep talking to?
Who is Father? Where is he?
Father? Father, help me! He's trying to take me! Father? Father, help me!
Sean. S923, recall code Cirrus.
So,
Fascinating.
he introduces himself with a total dick move.
The child's responses were not at all what I anticipated. He's a prototype, you understand.
Why would they be surprising?
We're only just now beginning
How could
to
you not
explore the
anticipate
effects
that?
of extreme emotional stimuli. Please try and keep an open mind. I recognize that you are emotional, and that your journey here has been fraught with challenges. Let's start anew. I am Father. Welcome to the Institute.
I love how Father's / Sean's face is affected by the appearance choices you make at the beginning of the game. So, Father, that's who you are.
Father? That's your name? Your title?
Father is my unofficial title. It's what I've come to mean to the people of the Institute, just as you mean to your son, to Sean.
So, where is he? Where's my real son?
I'll make this very simple. Where is my son?
He's here, in the Institute. Closer than you think. But I need you to realize that this situation is far more complicated than you could have imagined. You have traveled very far, and suffered a great deal to find your son. Well, your tenacity and dedication have been rewarded. It's good to finally meet you, after all this time.
It's good to have subtitles when Bethesda glitches and doesn't complete statements.
I am Sean. I am your son.
You are.
How is that even possible?
I know this is a lot to take in. In the vault, you had no concept of the passage of time. You were released from your pod and went searching for the son you'd lost. But then you learned that your son was no longer an infant, but a 10-year-old boy. You believed that 10 years had passed. Is it really so hard to accept that it was not 10, but 60 years? That is the reality. And here I am, raised by the Institute, and now its leader.
So, why?
But why? Why take a child? Why take you?
Ah, now that's the question, isn't it? Why me? At that time, the year 2227, the Institute had made great strides in synth production. But it was never enough. Scientific curiosity and the goal of perfection drove them ever onward. What they wanted was the perfect machine. So they followed the best example thus far. The human being. Walking, talking, fully articulate, capable of anything.
And of course my washing machine starts making noises in the background. Sorry about that, folks. So, they started with human beings who are far from perfect. So, human synths then, eh?
Human synths? Really?
Human-like synths. A great distinction. The Institute endeavored to create synthetic organics. The most logical starting point, of course, was human.
Why go with something as
Plenty of that
complex
was
as a human
available
and
for
as ethically dubious as a human
it
when
had
there are
all
other things you
become
could start with?
In this wasteland, radiation affected everyone, even in their attempts to shield themselves from the world above. Members of the Institute had been exposed. Another source was necessary. But then
There
the
is a
Institute
certain-
found me after discovering records from Vault 111.
There's a parallel with the
Frozen in
Brotherhood
time.
here. where there's
from the
like
radiation
all the
induced
people on the surface are
mutations that
corrupted,
had
so there's a
crept
level of
into every
racism
other
here in the
human
Institute
cell in the
that
Commonwealth.
parallels the
I was
Brotherhood in
exactly
some
what
way.
they needed. And so it was my DNA that became the basis of the synthetic organics used to create every human-like synth you see today. I am their father. Through science, we are family. The synths, me, and you.
And you were here all this time.
And you've been down here the whole time?
I have. Yes. I know you
Leaving
must have
me
questions.
to be a popsicle.
Please. Anything I can do to help you understand.
So, what about your mother? What did you think about that once you found out? Which I'm sure you did, since you're apparently in charge down here.
Your mother. She never got to see you grow up?
Yes. What happened to her was... I've gone over the records of the incident, of course. It seems her death was an unfortunate bit of collateral damage.
It wasn't collateral damage, it was murder.
Collateral damage? She was murdered.
Killed? Yes. Murdered?
No,
I'm
that
not
was
so
straight up
sure
murder.
about that. Still, I do regret never having known her. For many years, I never questioned who my parents were.
So he doesn't consider
I
what
accepted
Kellogg
my
did a
situation.
murder?
And that was that. With old age comes regret. And asking what if more often. But what matters now is that you and I have a chance to begin again. What else can I say to ease your mind?
Well, let's see. What about this Kellogg bastard?
Kellogg. He worked for you?
Kellogg. He was an Institute asset long before I arrived here. It wasn't until I became director that I learned of all the things he'd done. What kind of man he was.
And he's a murderer.
He was a murderer. He killed your mother.
Believe me, I am well aware of the atrocities Kellogg committed. I suspect there are many more we'll never know of. The Institute took advantage of Kellogg's vicious nature. I will freely admit that.
You did it
Institute
personally.
Technology prolonged his life, and his usefulness far beyond any normal human lifespan. He never failed the Institute, but his cruelty became more apparent with every completed objective. I won't lie. It's no coincidence your path crossed his. It seemed a fitting way to allow you, us, to have some amount of revenge.
So
What
you were
else
ready
can
to
I
just throw
say
him under a bus?
to ease your mind?
So tell me about the Institute.
So you're in charge of the Institute?
I am the acting director, yes. I spent decades working to reach this point. It's a responsibility I take very seriously. The Institute. It's important. It really is humanity's best hope for the future.
That's
no
what
matter
they
what those above
told you
ground
to
might think
believe.
of us.
So, let's go with the YU.
But director? Why you?
I was the most qualified for the position. Obviously. I've lived my life within these walls. Dedicated to science like every other member of the Institute. My hard work...
I wonder what his scientific field is.
Ultimately, the Commonwealth has nothing to fear from us. Whatever you've seen or heard, I know I can convince you of it.
I literally know you replace
me
people
time.
with sense and use
I
them as
know there's
spies.
more for us to discuss. But the Institute is on the verge of some important breakthroughs. Your presence would be appreciated as we approach them. I've
Well,
been
I
part
guess I
of
need to
something
start infiltrating
amazing
at this
here.
point.
I've helped to build a life for myself and the people of the Institute. And now, after all these years, you have an opportunity to help with that. Doesn't that intrigue you? Isn't that what you want?
Sure it is.
Yes, that's what I want.
I know. I know you've been through so much. I'm pleased to see it has not impaired your judgment. Forgive me. I'd assume that after everything I'm sure you've seen above ground, you would be more than a bit biased against us. There is much to be done. You'll need time to acclimate yourself.
Father is
A chance to
obviously
become acquainted with our procedures.
got some confirmation bias on his own stuff going on. So what do I need to learn?
Is all that really necessary? What's there to learn?
For now, it is enough that you understand that the Institute really is devoted to the betterment of humanity. The Institute is now your home, as much as it is mine. Please take some time, get to know it. Meet the people you'll be working with. You'll want to introduce yourself to the division heads. Dr. Fillmore in Facilities, Dr. Ayo in SRB, Dr. Holdren in Bioscience, and finally Dr. Lee in Advanced Systems. They've all been notified of your arrival, of course. Meet them, and then we'll discuss what comes next.
Alrighty then. Now, of course, there's all kinds of interesting loot to be had from the Institute, but we're not going to worry about it at the moment. We'll have plenty of time to loot the Institute. Now, what are our active quests, just so that we don't get... Yeah, I don't want to meet Patriot yet. I want to make sure I do the... ingratiate myself properly with the Institute, and Dr. Fillmore will be right over here.
Just need to tighten up this primary drive servo.
That's the third primary drive breakdown this month. As far as I'm concerned, the phase out on these older models can't come soon enough.
Oh, I don't know. Most of them have lasted long past their projected lifespans.
Well,
If
you
ask
know,
me, they were built
technology
pretty
in this
well.
timeline is super
I can't argue
robust
with
anyway.
that. Even so, I'm ready to see the full Gen 3 roll out.
There we go. All set.
I'm pretty sure it
Unit,
already
return to
did.
duty.
Thanks again.
Of course. We're all
Oh,
looking
Dr.
forward to working
Fillmore.
with you.
Excuse me, Doctor.
They weren't kidding. You really are here. Well, all right. I'm Allie Fillmore. You can think of me as the Institute's chief engineer. When Father
Okay.
told us about you, I could hardly believe it. You've been through so much, I think most people would have just given up. If you don't mind my asking, what was it that kept you going all that time?
Why, I was searching for my son.
I just wanted to find my son and keep him safe.
Now that you've found him, I hope you're proud of the great man he grew up to be. Now, I'll give you a quick rundown.
It's not really
of the
been pressing me
facilities
so far, but
division,
anyway.
and then I'll answer any questions you might have afterward. As you might guess, we keep the Institute's mechanical and electrical systems running smoothly. We maintain and upgrade all of the systems that make it possible to live and work in a place like this. There's a lot of machinery behind these walls that recycles the air and water and provides power to the laboratories and quarters. The work we do might not be as exciting as some of the other departments, but it's at least as important.
I know what it's
So,
like to be
Now
unappreciated.
that you're here and you've spoken to Father, does that mean you're on board?
Well, yeah, totally. I'm totally on board.
Absolutely.
Oh, good to hear. It'll be a load off Sean's mind. Take your time. Get yourself acquainted. There's a lot to take in. Plenty of things you won't find topside. If there's anything else you'd like to know about the Facilities Division, I'm happy to discuss it.
I'm good for now. Power needs.
It must be a challenge to meet the power demands of a place like this.
Absolutely. We scratch and scrape for every precious ounce of voltage that we can.
Ah,
Over the years,
I
we've
was supposed
learned
to
a few
find your
tricks that help
weaknesses.
supplement our power budget. When necessary, we can tap into select sources on the surface. We take only what we need, of course.
Of
Fortunately,
course.
Advanced Systems is always working on new solutions to generate more energy. It's a good thing, too, because the demand is always increasing. You don't even want to know what a single use of the molecular dematerializer consumes.
Okay.
It's an honor to have you here, sir.
Let's go ahead and talk to the biggest jerks in the Institute first.
You know the protocol, sir. Authorized personnel only.
So Dr. Ayo thinks he can hide in his office, does he? Well, you can tell him that I intend to speak to Father about these unannounced security sweeps of yours. Ransacking my quarters in the middle of the night is totally unacceptable.
I'll pass along your message, Doctor.
See that you do.
So, let's go talk to the secret police. Sorry if you heard any of that.
Scanning. Subject identified.
Okay.
Seriously thinking of heading over to robotics to knock some heads together.
What now?
They're dragging their feet on the targeting package upgrades I asked for. Maybe I should take some courses with me. You know, send a message.
Please don't. There's enough friction as it is between us and pretty much all the other departments.
You going soft on me?
That's because you're jerks.
My methods get results, and they will this time as well. You'll see.
Like any machine, a synth can malfunction. Just wish it didn't happen so often.
Yeah.
If you see any suspicious synth activity, report it immediately.
Oh, by all means.
Hey, Doc.
So, here you are. Justin Ayo, Acting Director of the Synth Retention Bureau. I'll be upfront with you. We're going to be keeping a close eye on you for the near future. Despite your relation to Father, you're a bit of an unknown quantity. I'm sure you understand. There won't be any issues, will there?
I'm pretty sure there won't be, but I will see if I can get myself some extra experience here.
Why? Don't you trust me?
Oh, it's nothing personal. I don't trust anyone. Now, Father has asked that I provide you with a brief overview of the synth retention. Our primary responsibility is the recovery of escaped synths that are hiding among the human population on the surface.
Yeah. Why would a synth want to escape?
Why would synths want to escape?
Synths do not want. They might look like human beings, but they're machines. As to why they're escaping, that matter is currently under investigation. Our main instrument is the Courser, a third-generation synth assigned to operate on the surface. Coursers hunt down and reclaim synths that have escaped the Institute. They are highly self-sufficient, trained in combat, infiltration, and tracking. In a word, our Coursers are relentless. But I gather you know all this, since you've encountered one already. In fact, I'd very much like to know how you defeated it.
Well, I will just say I got lucky.
I guess I just got lucky.
That's hardly helpful. I suppose I'll have to ask robotics to perform detailed diagnostics on the entire production run. As if we don't have enough problems. Now, unless you need something else, I'll get back to work.
Let's see. I don't think he has anything I really want to know.
I'm good for now. Thanks.
Very well.
I'll totally take your fusion cells. We'll come back for some of this other stuff later. There's a bunch more fusion cells around, but we can do those another time.
Systems nominal.
Let's go ahead and hit up robotics.
Remember to keep unnecessary power consumption to a minimum. Don't recharge unless your primary levels are below 2%. Also, if you haven't patched your navigation software,
so obviously the weakness here is we have really short power supplies.
What we need is more synths bumping into walls. All right.
If you require maintenance, please file a report with the Facilities Division.
Okay. Okay. Little tricks with getting the recording system to work properly, but now we're ready to look into advanced robotics.
Come now, it could have been anything. It was probably just a glitch in the nervous system.
You're here. Glad you made it.
Software could use an update.
If it were just a limb twitching, but her eyes were
Everyone's
moving as
excited
well.
about the new synth project.
Involuntary twitching and rapid eye movements while sleeping can only mean one thing, Max. You just don't want to admit to yourself what it is.
If you're about to launch into one of your impassioned speeches about artificial sentience and machines with souls, don't bother. I've heard enough of them by now. Prepare like write them down from memory.
But we can't just ignore the question. If a synth can dream, why can't it have a soul? And if a synth has a soul, then it is a living person by every standard we can measure. Of course it is far more comfortable to think of them as machines, so we can do what we want with them.
If you disapprove of the work we do here, Dr. Renee, you know where to find the teleporter.
Now just a moment. I never said that. I'm simply trying to open everyone's eyes to new possibilities.
Well, it's an unwanted distraction. We're men of science, not philosophers. You do well to remember that. The synths aren't just Father's legacy.
Doctor.
They're his gift to
It's
humanity.
you. You're finally with us. I'd just like to apologize for any trouble our synths may have caused for you on your way here. They, of course, couldn't be told of your identity, and they have very specific protocols for protecting themselves and Institute interests, most of which I designed myself. Not to make problems for you, though. Will you be staying with us then?
Yes, I am.
Yes, of course.
Ah, good. Sean is most pleased, I'm sure. He's been quite anxious to have you with us. If you require anything, especially as it pertains to synths, please let me know.
Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to end this video here, and we will continue with our tour of the Institute next time. In the meantime, have fun playing the games you play, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.